Welcome, welcome, welcome. You listen to KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM, the Ask Brien radio show. Well, before we get started, we have a couple of things to go over. First of all, we're going to welcome Patrick as now part of the team.
Heyo, everybody.
He'll be on every week. Patrick, congratulations.
Thanks. I think I've been on every week, by the way.
No, you haven't.
For like the last 2 years.
No, he hasn't.
Every week for the last few years.
What are you talking about?
I'm almost certain about that.
After he gave up the job as engineer to Emily, he was, I don't know if I can make it. I got stuff to do. I'm not sure. But anyway, welcome back. But
that's because he was making excuses not to show up until finally it was not optional anymore. And
right, and then he realized
we're considering it a promotion.
Because he realized how much he missed us. Now, where's that clapping thing that you've got for the announcement of Patrick?
We don't have a clap.
Yes, you do.
No, we don't.
We have something.
Was it not
playing?
We
have a crowd noise going, yay!
You do know that we do. Yeah, we do have the yay.
Exactly.
There's no clap.
Well, whatever.
Hey, a crowd would work.
That crowd.
I think my version was better. My version was better.
There's
okay,
a golf
that's a golf crowd.
Golf crowd.
Golf clap, but it works. It works.
Are we gonna go to the country club afterwards? All right, so
I'm down.
I'm down. I love shooting golf.
Yeah.
Should we talk to you like this, Patrick? Should we say, hello, Patrick? Would you like to join us at the club or around the golf after this?
Actually,
is that like the Masters, like, hello, friends?
No, Patrick reminds me of Rodney Dangerfield in Caddyshack. All right, so.
I get no respect around here.
You remind me of Rodney Dangerfield.
I don't know if that's a compliment or an insult, but I get no respect. What can I say?
He was very orthodox.
I know who Rodney Dangerfield is, by the way. I do know who he is. Very funny.
Thank God.
Thank God. Thank God.
I've seen plenty of movies with him. Funny guy.
Anyway, so each week we have a show called Ask Brien. It's a business show, and we have a lot of reasons why people constantly ask us, why are you spelling your name Brien, B-R-I-E-N? So anyone who's never listened to the show, we're going to explain it. For people who have, they're going to go, oh no, again, but we're going to do it anyway until we kind of drill it down. So everybody wants to know why Brien is spelled with an E, because most people spell Brien B-R-I-A-N or B-R-Y-A-N, and we're not the Irish pub called O'Brien's, okay? And even though you're Irish, your name is not O'Brien. So everybody wants to know why we spell Brien with an E. And Patrick, who is now a regular on the show, is going to explain to the crowd. Where's that crowd? Oh, I guess we lost the crowd. Anyway, eventually she'll find it. Go ahead.
There's a golf clap. I like the golf clap. I like the golf clap.
So, Patrick, why do we spell... Why is Brien with an E?
Well, because a number of words that start with E kind of make up the theme of the Ask Brien show. In fact, one of them is,
theme has 2 E's in it.
Theme does have 2 E's in it. That is true, but it starts with a T.
That's true.
One of our most important ones, not that they're all not important, but one of our more important themes would be education, because we try to educate our audience.
Well, that's true. Congratulations. I'll give you a little seal thing with a flip of the fish because you got the number 1. Well,
okay.
He doesn't always get that, folks, so today's a special occasion.
Apparently. Yeah.
Exactly. Now that worked.
Yay.
That worked.
Thank you,
Thank
Emily.
you, Emily.
You're welcome.
Another E is also, since we just brought her up, another E is engineer, who happens to be Emily. So that's 2 E's.
That's double E, like theme.
Double E.
Sup?
Yay! I'm making a noise for you, Emily. Yay!
And then
there's always one in the crowd, Trace.
And then there is kind of 2 that are kind of synonymous with each other, but one of you brings the enthusiasm, and the other one brings the
excitement.
I was ready for
I guess I'm taking credit for enthusiasm because I can't top that.
Oh, you certainly can.
Other words we have experience, because everybody that is brought onto the Ask Brien show is very experienced in their field, and also experts, because every guest on here is an expert.
And tell them with your mathematical skills now.
It's 10,000 hours.
And how do you get 10,000 hours?
That's all I got.
Yes, you do. You know.
Nope.
Especially as a regular member, you're going to have to memorize this.
Can we write it down like a key card or something?
How many
Because-
how
And
many
we should probably do that like before we're live. You know.
how many hours do most people work for a full work week?
40 hours a week.
And how many weeks are there in a year?
I don't know.
A lot.
There
A
are
lot.
52.
Got it.
But we take off 2 weeks for vacation.
Well, some
So
people.
50 times 40 is how much?
Math? You're giving me math?
I can't
Wow,
type this
wow.
fast. Hold on.
2,000 hours. Okay, and how many years does it take to become
10 years. 10 years.
no 5 years
Oh, okay.
to be experienced? Because 2 times 5 is 10.
Right.
Okay, that's our math lesson for the day. So you've already been educated. All right.
It's like the count from
Moving
Sesame
along.
Street. And then, are we forgetting any, or are we down
Well,
to
let's
our
do-
last one?
Well, let's do the major one because we
Okay.
said we're going to do something about
Right,
that.
right.
So, Tracy, we all know about grease lightning, and what is that?
Oh, I can't say it with such enthusiasm today because my heart is broken. But one of my favorite E words for always and forever is electrifying. But today we are sad because we have lost Olivia Newton-John, the original electrifying.
I thought it was really Sandra Dee from Greece, but okay.
Sandy.
Anyway, we're
Yes,
We're
but
go-
Sandy and Olivia are synonymous in my heart.
Very true.
All right, so we're going to have a 20-second moment of silence. Four more seconds.
We can talk now.
I don't know what she's doing with her
I was
face.
going to say, I
don't know what she's doing with
I'm
her
like,
face.
I'm like, why, I'm like, why
I'm
are you
looking-
having her come back? I'm like, you're the one that
'Cause
talks.
I'm looking at the clock. I count to
Well,
20.
and
Well, then you can bring us
countdown
back.
during a moment of silence. What the heck?
Well, anyway,
Left.
You're the one that brings us. You started it.
we-
You have to bring us back.
yes, but I am. But I'm looking at the clock, and normally when you count time, you look at a clock. All right. I don't know
Fair
how
enough.
people do
Poor,
that.
poor Sandra Dee. She didn't even get a proper message.
Well, and now because of that, we can tell Tracy how unempathetic she is.
Oh,
She was
empathy.
not-
We're
She was
missing
not
one.
empathized at all,
Hey-o.
and she actually made a joke about someone's death.
Oh
That was
no,
not
no,
empathy.
no,
That's
she
not
You're
fair.
laughing.
didn't.
You're laughing. We're giving a moment of
No.
silence.
No, I am not accepting that exaggeration.
That is a very big exaggeration.
And exaggeration starts with
With an
an
E, that is very true. There we go. Bringing it back to the E's. I think that covers them all,
So
doesn't it?
you did experts, correct?
Yes.
Um,
We did empathy. We did
Let's-
enthusiasm.
not exactly.
Let's introduce our expert.
Yeah.
How about that? Let's introduce. If she's still here.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure she's gone. She's like said, enough. What did
I'm
Heather?
here.
What did
I'm
Heather
here.
get me into? Anyway, we're back. So, thank you very much for being our guest today. I have a couple questions for you. Currently, what is your what business are you currently working on right now? Patrick, where are you going? Oh, you got to take off. Patrick's got to take off. He's got a little cavity issue.
Golf match to get to.
He's going to the dentist.
So, my business is Serendipitous Psychotherapy. I'm a licensed clinical social worker in private practice, and some projects I'm currently working on. I adapted my autobiography into a short film, and we'll actually be out in LA in October showcasing it at the Real Film Festival in North Hollywood.
So that's going to be actually in the movie theaters, or can you download it off of Hulu? or something?
Well, we're having a film festival there for a week in a movie theater, but this is something that I use as a visual tool to educate large communities about mental health and substance abuse.
And what is your major area of social work? Or
I've been in practice for over 20 years, and currently working with adults and couples in psychotherapy, working on depression, anxiety, conflict in relationships.
So I don't tell me if I'm going too far off key here, but because this is a business show, how does that interact on the business side? I mean, obviously, you can have a husband and wife or business partners that can have issues, right? But how does that apply in the business world? Can you make that connection?
Sure. Well, I work with a lot of people who are CEOs of companies and certainly entrepreneurs, and myself, having started my own business. And they don't teach you that in grad school when you decide to become a social worker. So I'm pretty scrappy and have really, learned trial by fire and connecting with other entrepreneurs who have been mentors to me.
And when did you write your book, your auto?
In 2017, and actually my colleagues advised me not to because it's an autobiography. And as somebody who is known as the expert in the field, a lot of them said it would ruin my career. And, having people read about my own story of kind of, experiencing some of my own trauma and growing up above my parents' bar in Chicago, which I credit why I got into this field anyway, it actually did the opposite. So publishing the book exploded my career in terms of just having amazing platforms to share what my mission is and inspire other people and speak all over the world. And I'm really glad I didn't listen to the naysayers.
Now, that book, you wrote that yourself, or did you have ghostwriters or other people help you out, or how did
No, I wrote it myself. It's called Myself, an Autobiography of Survival. And I actually was planning on publishing it with a publishing company, but they were small and in New York and went bankrupt about a week before my book was about to launch. So I had to figure out a way to do it and decided to self-publish through Amazon, and it became an award-winning autobiography as well as an Amazon bestseller.
Well, if they would have taken the book a couple of weeks earlier, they would never have had to file bankruptcy. Anyway, right? So,
yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
But it actually ended up working out to my benefit. So, being able to shift and pivot and figure out a different way was really beneficial and helped me grow as a business person too.
Now, how long did it take you to write that book, approximately?
Oh, goodness. Well, I have 4 kids, 18.
So you have to multiply it by 10.
So I said it took me about 10 years with a couple hiatuses in between having children, but really focused hard for 18 months right before it published.
And then once you got this book, okay, was it just that was on Amazon was able to get it out to the public, or how were you able to get it out to the public? I mean, it's like the Field of Dreams. I always hear about that, right? If you build it, they will come. Well, it doesn't really work that way. I mean, you can have a book, but people need to know about it. How did you market it?
Great question. So, I did a lot of local events to get the word out and had platforms where I'm based in Chicago, and so had great opportunities here. But what ultimately ended up doing it for me was being a guest on the Today Show. And when they referenced the book, then a bunch of people bought it, and that's how it became an Amazon bestseller in women's biographies. And one thing led to the next, and was able to share my story on the Tamron Hall Show and the Drew Barrymore Show, and I've been a guest expert on other platforms as well and get to promote my book. So that's kind of the ticket. And that was something, that I didn't know how to do either, and was looking for a PR rep, but got quotes for like $10,000 a month and couldn't afford that. So I said, well, I'm scrappy. I hustle hard. I'll figure it out, and just started pitching on my own. And I guess my story is very relatable, and it kind of took off from there. And then that's how we adapted it into a short film.
Well, definitely when you get on the Today Show, that's gotta mean a lot. A lot of viewers are going to see it, and it can definitely kickstart you. I would think. But
Yeah.
just to get to the Today Show without a publicist, I can only imagine it's very difficult. I'm imagining that a lot of people want to be on the Today Show, and of those people that want to be on, they have publicists, they have people that have know these people for years and years, and can sell it. To sell it on your own like you did, if there was a clap, I don't know if Emily has it anymore. I guess she can't clap right now. Her clapper is out, so we'll do it here.
Yay! Yeah, no, I recognize.
Yay!
That's the Ask Brien clap.
No, I recognize, so many things. I think when people tell me I can't do something, it makes me work harder and figure out a way. And there were so many roadblocks. And, I did. I beat the odds of numbers and people saying you can't or you shouldn't. And, I really did listen to my gut and my instinct and knew that, this story needed to be told and, inspire other people to make changes in their own life.
So without getting too deep here, okay,
Sure.
What was unique that you think was unique in your story that made something like that they should say, you know what, this is something we want to have on our show?
Well, there are many chapters in the book, but one of them was, I decided to stop drinking alcohol, having grown up above my parents' bar. I was exposed at a really young age and kind of fell into this quote unquote mommy drinking culture, as they call it in the media. And so this normalization of women with small children getting together and drinking wine and, means of mommy juice. I think that piece was really relatable. I mean, even now, more so after the pandemic. I mean, my book came out many years ago, 5 years ago, but since the pandemic, that has risen exponentially. I think the New York Post did a study that women are drinking at 323% more than they were since the start of the pandemic. So it's really an issue now, and it's not, am I an alcoholic, am I not? It's this gray area in between of I'm still functioning, I'm still taking care of my kids. Maybe I'm going to work and performing fine, but I'm not the best that I can be. I'm blacking out or doing things I regret. I'm not being a good role model for my kids. And so I think that whole sober curious movement came after I published my book. And so there's been a lot of opportunities since then.
Well, in the old days, in the 70s and 80s, there used to have people say the 3 martini lunch, right? They'd go out for a lunch, and they'd have 2 or 3 martinis, come back, and their faces would be red. So, I mean, this is nothing new.
Yeah.
This has been going on for years and years.
Right.
It may have changed. The pandemic obviously changed a lot of things because now you could have more freedom and you can do what you want to in your house, even though you were technically working, right? So one thing you haven't mentioned, and I don't know if it's going to hit a nerve, but I always try to do stuff. So what about your husband? Are you married?
In what regard?
Well, are you currently married?
Yes, I am. I'm married. I've been married for 18 years. We met at my parents' bar, and he's an actor, which is part of the reason we decided to do the film. He plays a character of himself, but he still drinks, and, I haven't had a drink in 9 years, and it's done nothing but strengthen our marriage, and he still drinks, but doesn't have a problem with alcohol, and I come from a long line of addiction, and with 4 kids, the likelihood that 1 or 4 of them will develop a problem is high. So we educate them young and, just really a piece about, like you said, this isn't anything new, right? Like we live in a drinking saturated culture. However, there hasn't been much of a focus on the impact of alcohol and women. And I think there was an old school model of AA, which helped me tremendously get sober. But there's this whole new culture in the last 5 years or so of, mom sober squad or all these social media groups of sober curiosity. And so I think it's taking a turn similarly as smoking did.
Without a doubt. We're going to be taking a break. We're going to be right back. Listen to KHTS 1220, 98.1 FM, The Ask Brien Show.
The shows must go on. The Main in Santa Clarita is your destination for free online music, theater, art, and entertainment opportunities. Tune into fun variety nights, join a talent show, learn from filmmaking experts, attend a modern play, and more from the comfort of your home. For more information and to view upcoming events, go to facebook.com/The Main New Hall or at themain.org. Enjoy the shows.
You already know Salt Creek Grill has the best food in our valley. Well, now you can have Salt Creek's gourmet meals catered to your event.
I'm Greg Amsler, owner of Salt Creek Grill. I'd like to introduce you to a new level of catering, featuring our catering director, Tamara Levine.
Salt Creek Grill creates memorable experiences, which leaves our clients and guests with a sense of awe and excitement. From menu development to picturesque presentation, you'll enjoy culinary excellence and creative catering.
Salt Creek Grill, a new level of catering.
Healthcare can be difficult if you're underinsured or have Medi-Cal. Samuel Dixon Family Health Center can help. Services are available on a sliding fee schedule. The mission of the Samuel Dixon Family Health Center is to give the Santa Clarita Valley access to affordable, quality primary care. There are 3 locations to serve you: Canyon Country, Newhall, and Valverde. Go to sdfhc.org for more information and to find the location most convenient for you.
Coming to the Canyon, Gordon Lightfoot, Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, Berlin, The Motels, Robbie Krieger, Corey Feldman, The Smithereens, Faster Pussycat, Richie Kotzen, Stephen Piercy of Rat, LA Guns, Young Dubliners, Pancho Sanchez, War, Ambrosia, The Spinners, Eric Gales, and so much more. Country nights every Thursday. The Canyon is the perfect place to host special events. Call 888-645-5006. Book yours today. The Canyon, Santa Clarita, where music meets the soul. Tickets available through access.com.
No words can describe the power of belonging to a group of close friends or being part of a family. Insight Treatment Center was founded more than 20 years ago to give teenagers a community of friends and family as they overcome issues like depression, anxiety, and trauma. The new Santa Clarita location is a COVID-secure environment where distance and good airflow are a priority. As a leader in providing intensive outpatient treatment to teenagers, Insight Treatment Center in Santa Clarita is here to help. Call 888-295-9995 or go online to insighttreatment.com.
If you have a business problem, if someone doesn't honor their agreement and you need an aggressive attorney with over 27 years experience, the Law Office of Peter Bronstein has helped partners resolve disputes, franchisees resolve disputes, and other business owners who have a challenge. Let the Law Office of Peter Bronstein take your stress away. Visit lacorporateattorney.com. Don't wait too long and lose your rights. Solve your business challenge problem today. Visit lacorporateattorney.com.
Hometown, your hometown station.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Ask Brien radio show on KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM. Like no other station in the world! That's their slogan here, by the way. Tracy, you had something to ask.
I have to say, you've done things to that slogan they probably never thought was possible.
I'm what they call a true disruptor.
Yes. So I'm so glad we're back. And, one of the big E's that we talk about on the Ask Brien radio show is entrepreneurship. So would you share with us a little bit about your entrepreneurship journey and how you got to starting Serendipitous Psychology, right? Is that the name of your business?
Serendipitous Psychotherapy. Sure. So, sure.
That's very serendipitous, but I should ask you that.
Yes. I, was really interested in figuring out what moved people, what made people tick, what struggles they had been through, how they came through the other side. So I decided to study it in college and was really in grassroots social work in my early 20s and working in child welfare and working for systems, and the comments that I received from a lot of people in the field was, "Oh, never expect to make any money doing this work. We're paid so poorly, yada yada." And again, that was another thing. I was like, I don't know about that. So I really enjoyed working in community as a social worker. But then, after my husband and I got married, we moved out to LA, and I started working in private practice in some group facilities, and really loved the work. And then when we moved back to Chicago, was working for another group practice, and I had been there for 5 years, and I had asked for a raise. And the woman at the practice said, "Well, you're probably the highest paid social worker in the city. The only way you're going to make more money is if you leave the practice." So that gave me permission to do that. And, with 4 kids and a husband as an actor, that is a very unpredictable job at times, I knew that I needed to work for myself, and I needed to venture out on my own and not take insurance. So I see all clients who are private pay and have a full caseload of about 25 to 30 clients a week, in conjunction with some of the other things in the media and the book and the movie.
And what was one of the things that you found that was the biggest challenge between, moving from, and I'm sure that was a difficult decision, even though you had aspirations to have a higher income. You have 4 kids, a husband, with more of a sporadic income. What was the biggest challenge for you in terms of leaving the system and the benefits and salary and things like that to then be a solopreneur and start your own practice?
Oh my gosh. Well, it was, and moving from LA to Chicago, I think, so much of being an entrepreneur for me were the connections that I made. And certainly in psychotherapy, I brought on interns who would train under me. And a lot of it was recreating relationships. The good news is I came back to a place where I grew up. So I had some connections, but none that were even in the field that I was in. So literally, going to doctors' offices, old school, knocking on people's doors and asking if I could, give them a pitch about the work that I do. And eventually it was all about the relationship building. And so much of my business comes from word of mouth. And so I think initially that was really hard to develop those relationships. But once they were strong enough, now I don't really even need to market anymore.
That's amazing. Well, and a Today Show appearance doesn't hurt that either. So, but in continuing the conversation around your journey, and you've shared very honestly, which certainly appreciate, about now being a sober entrepreneur running your business, but you've been in business longer than you've been sober. So my question to you
What kind of
is,
statement is that? How do you know?
Hello?
How do you know?
Because she told me already that she's been in business longer than 9 years, and she said she's been sober for 9 years, and I'm not mathematically challenged. So that being said, thanks for the question. But now my question is, what has your experience as an entrepreneur in sobriety, how is that different from you being an entrepreneur who wasn't sober, especially starting out?
Oh my gosh. I love that question because there's such a stark difference between the two. I was very high functioning when I was drinking, but, that was, I think the people that I saw was, new moms, new dads, people who were on their professional journey just starting out. And I feel as though as I grew in my own personal life, it attracted different kinds of clients as well. And so, as I had mentioned, when colleagues were like, you really shouldn't share your story, you're the expert, not the patient, in quotes, I thought, well, gosh, if I fail, fine, I can always go back to an institution to work at. But it exploded in terms of my sober journey attracting other people, mainly women, because I'm a women's mental health expert, who wanted to evaluate their drinking or whose drinking had impacted their family unit. And so the clarity that I had with that as a sober person running a business and the energy that I put into maybe drinking and socializing prior in my business, and that was a big part of building relationships too, right? Like getting a drink with somebody, going out to dinner, then was converted to, okay, there's something here that people are relating to. How can I grow that? And just the sense of like, gosh, if I can do this, I can do anything. And so there really weren't limits for me. And I'm kind of, for better or for worse, will say anything, do anything. I'm really transparent. And that's been a great tool in business. And certainly just, I ask myself, as I tell my clients, like, what's the worst somebody's going to say? No. If you ask. And so there's really been this approach of like fearlessness, because I feel like I have nothing to lose and I'm doing it with a sober mind.
And
Traci,
we have about 60 seconds.
No, we have 10 seconds. That's okay.
10.
Oh, then I'm saving my question until we come back. So I was just going to say that I bet your clients really appreciate that they can relate to you because you are so honest about your sobriety.
And
you're absolutely right. That's made all the difference.
We got to take a quick break, but what I was thinking when you made those comments was the authenticity issue, right? So people can relate to somebody that has dealt with it. So I think that, in my mind, that's why I think that was very successful, because people feel like I can relate to somebody. It's not just, a case study, right? It's actually you.
Yes.
And I think
somebody who's
that,
been in the trenches, didn't just study it.
Exactly.
Right.
Now, without any further ado, we have is our guest available? Mandy, are you there?
I am here.
Okay, so each week the Ask Brien show is thankfully sponsored by two companies, Albany Farms and Legal Steps. So the first question people have is, what is Albany Farms Twisted Noodles, and what can you tell us about the product?
Okay, so Twisted Noodles is our brand name for Albany Farms, and they are delicious ramen noodles. Most importantly, they're probably made in the United States. We are opening up our first food manufacturing facility located in Bellfish, South Dakota.
What's different about what's different about those noodles? Why can't I just go and buy whatever other brands there are at the supermarket? What's unique about your brand besides that it's made in South Dakota?
Well, we feel our ramen noodles are, a step up from your everyday ramen noodle that you see on the shelf. Our noodles are more premium, but at the same time, we still make it affordable for our consumers. And what makes it even, I think, more special is our flour comes from local wheat farmers. And if you know ramen is all about the entire experience. So we feel like, we've created the perfect formula for our noodles that will go well with just about any seasoning. So we plan to have some fun with it and come up with some creative flavors that will go great with the noodles.
And quickly, what is Legal Steps, and what do they do?
Legal Steps spelled with a Z.
And why just spell it with a Z?
That's because we teach you everything from A to Z.
Teach you about what?
Legal Steps it's basically a how-to guide on how to become an entrepreneur and how to start a business. So basically, whether it's determining your business structure or crafting a detailed marketing strategy, or we can walk you through steps to take on how to create your own logo. Basically, Legal Steps is that guide that can help point you in the right direction.
Well, super. Thank you very much for sponsoring us. We got to go back to our guest. Thanks, Mandy. Traci had some more questions for Kelly.
Yes, I do. So, thank you. So I've heard, when you were talking before at the beginning of the show about the the conversations happening around moms and play dates being centered around mom juice, and even women in business, and the whole idea of just in general, not even limited to gender so much. The point I'm trying to get to in my long-winded setup for this question is,
please, okay.
There's a lot. I know it's painful. I've been hearing in the context of those points that you mentioned, a discussion around the difference between alcohol dependence and alcohol addiction. And also, to your point, you mentioned the difference between AA and some of these other groups that people are joining. Do you feel like you can speak to the difference between alcohol dependence versus alcohol addiction, or is it just a buzzword right now?
Well, it's like even in our statistical manual of diagnoses, alcohol dependence was a former diagnosis. And a lot of that is the physical dependence, having physical symptoms related to alcohol use. People needing to drink in the morning because they feel so horrible they can't function, having the shakes, tremors. And now, it is more of this overarching substance use disorder. And so the way that it has been looked at is more so of how is alcohol impacting your life. And I look at alcohol and try to educate people that it's along the lines of a spectrum. And so for so long, and I'll use myself as an example, I knew I had alcoholism in my family, and that word isn't even in the medical terminology. Am I an alcoholic? But I referenced how bad was I compared to these other people I knew. And I've always thought, well, I'm still working. I never got a DUI. I'm still married. But it was this internal hatred and shame and embarrassment of, drinking too much, doing things I regretted, not staying true to my word. And certainly as I became a mom, wanting to do different and better and break the cycle in my family and show up for my kids differently than maybe my own parents could.
And then you also mentioned that you have 4 children, and because there is a significant genetic component to alcoholism, you have started educating them at young ages. What are the ages of your children?
Sure. They're 16, 14, 12, and 10. And certainly...
Oh, wow. That's like an amazing window of time to have some awkward conversations.
Right, and they're all age appropriate. This conversation we have with our 10-year-old is different than we have with our 16-year-old. But, there is a different awareness of, and I am not hating on people who drink. I have everybody in my life drinks other than my sober friends. And so, it's just being able to look at it with a different lens and being able to talk to our kids about, the earlier you start, the higher likelihood you are to develop a problem with it. And my kids know that I'm sober, but why is mom sober and dad's not? Well, dad doesn't act differently when he's drinking. Mom definitely does. And that's not mean or anything. It was, over the top. I'm pretty uninhibited anyway, so add alcohol to the mix, and it's a disaster. So I function better without it. They celebrate my sober anniversary with me, and, we have really open dialogue about it.
Well, and what a beautiful gift, especially for your 10-year-old. They have no memory of what it was like in your life when you did drink. So they only really, for the most part, based on the age ranges that you just said, most of your children don't even really remember the mom that was before their sober mom.
Oh, Tracy, you are good. You are good with math. You're so right. And my drinking escalated the more kids I had. It was trying to, it was a stress, it was trying to decompress. And my drinking went from binge drinking or just being at a party with friends, or, working in the bar and restaurant industry to then drinking at home and like looking at the clock being like, okay, I can't wait till it's 5 o'clock because I've got to get, these kids fed and homework and bedtime. And as I mentioned, my husband's an actor, so oftentimes he would work at night and we were like 2 ships passing in the night. So yeah, I gratefully, I was sober during every one of my pregnancies, and the older kids have a couple of memories that we kind of joke about, but our 10-year-old certainly, I got sober before she was 1. So
We're going to be taking a break. We'll be right back. KHTS 1220, 98.1 FM, The Ask Brien Show.
If you'd like to take your business up a notch, take a look at Elite Magazine.
Linda and Mo Hafizi, owners of our Valley's 2 leading magazines, the Magazine of Santa Clarita and Elite.
I'm so proud of Elite. It allows your advertisement to stand out. We distribute Elite to 50,000 homes and businesses. You'll find us in 1,900 local hotel rooms.
Discover how Elite Magazine can help your business. Call 294-4444.
Superior quality is second nature to us. Just ask our advertisers.
It's no wonder people love Baskin Robbins. 31 delicious flavors of ice cream. Celebrate with your favorite ice cream served any way you want, including the special flavor of the month. Baskin Robbins, now open on Lyons Avenue in Newhall under new Santa Clarita family ownership, is the first Southern California hybrid design store for Baskin Robbins and the oldest location in Santa Clarita, over 45 years. America's favorite neighborhood ice cream shop is just one scoop away. Baskin Robbins, the perfect dessert for your next celebration.
The City of Santa Clarita's Concerts in the Park series, presented by Logix Federal Credit Union, is back for its 32nd year. These free concerts take place Saturday nights through August 27th at Central Park. The lineup this year features returning favorites and electric newcomers, including DSB, a tribute to Journey, and Dreaming of You, a tribute to Selena. Food and refreshments are available on site. All concerts start at 7 p.m. For a full concert schedule, visit santa-clarita.com/concerts.
Dr. Neil Green has been treating Santa Clarita patients and making them smile for over 35 years. As a child, Dr. Green had a fear of the dentist and disliked even simple checkups. Today, he's sensitive to your needs. If you have anxiety about getting a checkup, he understands your apprehension even if you've avoided the dentist for years. Discover the comfort of visiting a dentist with Dr. Neil Green. Dentistry is his profession. People are his focus. NeilGreenDDS.com. That's Neil, N-E-A-L, GreenDDS.com.
This is Bradley from Santa Clarita Grocery, the all-volunteer grocery program serving children, families, and individuals experiencing food insecurities. Since January 2020, Santa Clarita Grocery has distributed 83 tons of fresh groceries to 4,465 families in the SCV. Santa Clarita Grocery is a drive-up, drive-through service with physical distancing in place to continue serving our community. If you are in need or looking for a charity to do the most good for our community, please consider partnering with us by donating to Santa Clarita Grocery, one of the most efficient charities in the Santa Clarita Valley. A full 99 cents out of every dollar goes directly back to the community. Santa Clarita Grocery operates on a 1% overhead and is sustained through private donations. Santa Clarita Grocery is at 21176 Center Point Parkway in the Oasis Furniture parking lot. Please visit our website, santaclaritagrocery.org, or our Facebook at Santa Clarita Grocery to make a difference in our awesome town community. 661-425-7575. Be our guest and experience the difference.
At the Burrito Factory, their motto has always been to serve quality food with fast, friendly service. But did I mention the taste? When it comes to authentic taste and huge mouth-watering burritos, the Burrito Factory is second to none. Whether it's lunch, dinner, or a catered event, Burrito Factory has the taste of Mexico to satisfy your craving. Burrito Factory on Soledad Canyon Road next to Chi-Chi's Pizza in Canyon Country. Stop in or call ahead 288-0222.
Welcome to the San Diego Zoo Safari Park, where life-changing moments happen daily. Set out on safari and discover 1,800 acres of sprawling savannas teeming with wildlife, as well as world-class botanical gardens. There's no place like it on Earth. Encounter rhinos, giraffes, wildebeest, and large herds of wildlife roaming together. Journey through the bamboo forests and come face to face with Sumatran tigers. Hop alongside kangaroos and dive underwater to meet the only 2 platypuses outside of Australia and experience the awe-inspiring giants of Elephant Valley. When you're here, you'll discover adventure is in every moment, and a moment can change a lifetime. For your family's ticket to fun, visit San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance.org. That's San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance.org.
It's a hit. Audiences are loving Something Rotten, playing out the Canyon Theater Guild. The year is 1595, and Shakespeare is a rock star. A rival acting troupe can't compete with The Bard. They need something new, exciting, never before done. Laugh your way back in time to the Renaissance with this hilarious show featuring tap dancing, Shakespeare, and the origins of the musical. Get your tickets today by calling 661-799-2702 or reserve online at canyontheater.org.
If you have a business problem, if someone doesn't honor their agreement and you need an aggressive attorney with over 27 years experience, the Law Office of Peter Bronstein has helped partners resolve disputes, franchisees resolve disputes, and other business owners who have a challenge. Let the Law Office of Peter Bronstein take your stress away. Visit lacorporateattorney.com. Don't wait too long and lose your rights. Solve your business challenge problem today. Visit lacorporateattorney.com.
It's like no other station I've ever listened to. It's great.
Your hometown station.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS 1220, 98.1 FM, the Ask Brien radio show. We have a great guest today, Kelly, and my co-host Tracy has some more questions. So I'm not the only one who asks questions as a deposition person here. Go ahead.
Well, as an interview person, I am going to ask because I know fascinated listeners want to know the answer to this question. Sobriety aside, you're a full-time entrepreneur with a thriving business, an author, a documentary producer, and a mom of 4 kids. How, and a wife, did I say wife? And how do you balance, or I'm not a big believer in work-life balance, but how do you integrate the intersection between work and life with all that you have going on?
Well, and that is the question, right? Like, how do we do all these things and not crash? Because that was why I was drinking so much. But in all honesty, it really, I'm very disciplined and motivated and try to be pretty structured. And, you know, I love early mornings. So I am so productive between the hours of 5 a.m. and 8 a.m. I'm in bed by 9 p.m. But really being able to do things in a very structured way. I plan out my week on Sunday with what the kids' activities are and what things I have going on. I'm grateful that I love everything that I do, so I feel really energized when I do it. It doesn't feel like work. It's really fun. And I have a really supportive partner, and so we co-parent really well. And, you know, he picks up my slack, I pick up his slack, and it just really has been finding something that I feel good about. There were certainly organizations I worked for that I didn't love the work I was doing, or I felt really burnt out. There's something to be said about working for yourself. You know, I mean, I'm always on, and so in the sense that, you know, if somebody emails me or calls, I get back to them right away, or I'm pitching ideas to different TV shows at night while we're sitting on the couch. But it's all just really fun. And I'm really good about, you know, kind of either turning off or not having any more energy between the hours of, you know, 3 and 7. And those are the times that the kids seem to need us the most at this age. So to me, it feels like a good balance.
That's amazing. So I know that there are so many people who are going to reach out to you. They're going to want to buy your book, which we'll put in the show notes for our podcast. But how can people get in touch with you if they want to continue this conversation?
Sure. So my website, I spell my first name Kelly, Kelley, Kitley, KITLEY.com. And that has links to articles that I contribute to as an expert, segments to TV shows. You can email me directly there. and you can purchase my book there. You can book me as a speaker there. So that's the main source of how people can find out what's going on and how we can connect.
That's amazing. And speaking of the podcast, if you enjoyed listening to this show and want to hear back episodes that you may not have heard, or you just want to re-listen to this episode, go to your favorite listening platform, Apple, Spotify. We're on all of them. iHeartMedia, and download the Ask Brien, Brien, Ask Brien podcast. And we appreciate you following our podcast and would also love it if you would leave us a review on Apple if that's where you listen. And again, that's the Ask Brien podcast.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Tracy. Till next week. KHTS 1220, 98.1 FM. Over and out.